Part 9. The Philosophical Industrial Estate. Philosophy sealed the fate of its descent into the current predicament when our methods ceased to be iconoclastic. Downstream from the methods of philosophical production, cognitive output calcified into a state of intellectual self-reinforcement. Now, respectable and stuffy, there is something which has claimed the title philosophy, something which appears to the wide-eyed student as the great intellectual leviathan it pretends to be. It is, however, in actuality, a taxidermist shell stuffed with extravagant schools and overflowing with preconceptions of value. This most extravagant dogmatism of contemporary philosophy appears in many disparate disguises. Working as the outside on the inside, the mere appearance of iconoclastic thought is potent enough to ensure entire generations the impression that they are the true and eternal free spirits. However, the truth is that nothing is more dogmatic than this willful illusion of iconoclasm. The state of this decline is no better exemplified than in the phenomenon of modern philosophy departments. The bureaucratic urge to contain has created a beautiful inquiry of oxymoron. True philosophy, as the ultimate question, is encountered within and without everything. This is why it can be described as the undying meta-question. The pretense that this could be departmentalized into a concrete box on the edge of some sad campus is an effort to willfully deceive generations of the philosophically capable. How many great thinkers have we lost to the drab machinery of the philosophy department? How many have we lost to academia as a whole, for that matter? Sitting in a grey and empty-walled stack of breeze blocks surrounded by cheap utilitarian furniture, talking about ressentiment, is the optimal way to find yourself engulfed with ressentiment. The passion of sincere intellectual inquiry is extracted from the philosophical masterwork by the parasitic majority of lecturers and professors who appear to be lost in a perpetual timetabling mishap. The paramilitary forces of academic dogmatism neuter the spirit of philosophy with their state-approved qualifications along the lines of Nietzsche's unfortunate sexism or Kant's regrettable racism. These cognitive slaves of the institution no longer dream on the edge of philosophical possibility, but relegate themselves to short-sighted relevance. Plato's cave exists and can be found in a philosophy seminar. To be surrounded by subservient young sycophants must be a very tempestuous joy. The lecturer, professor, thinker are permitted by their cognitive harem to indulge any and all intellectual fetishisms of their deepest individual judgments, while their disciples proclaim them and their kind to be the true iconoclasts. Modern academia is to intellect what modern urban space is to ambience, designed to make you feel supremely unwelcomed. Any will to creativity is crushed under the oppression of checklists and good prose. Genuine philosophy can never be signposted. Doing so reduces the ultimate expression of the intellect to the inertia of a textbook. You can't do philosophy. Philosophy has no top grade. The process of genuine understanding refuses to be timetabled to a couple of years, which can then be discarded mentally as you move on with an insignificant life. The educational production systems we have created love to abridge and compartmentalize, with both text and intellectual department. Soon there will be no individual figures of philosophy, but instead a compiled mush, a single predefined script which is basically philosophy. To give an example of the abuses of the philosophical lineage, Hume's status in the minds of the educated as the great empiricist is the result of his work being the victim of piecemeal vivisection. A soft censorship and dulling of edge has occurred to make it digestible to the contemporary egalitarian student mass. An educational base which has their skulls softened by the oppressive dogmatism of egalitarian fiat. Hume has been made a cognitive automata of base empiricism. Cause and effect, along with the naturalist morals of sensibility, are all that the current system and its adherents require in the service of their learning outcomes. It is as much an intellectual abomination when a single chapter or excerpt is presented as if it were a complete reading, as it is a human tragedy when the machinations of an unjust system removes limbs, organs, and children from their rightful place. The disembodiment of our ideas is the disembodiment of our assertions. No more should we have exegetical debates over a corpse. The Iconoclast is a harbinger of re-evaluative destruction. Many come bearing the vestments of iconoclasm, but are covert gatekeepers of the cognitive adventure. These creatures of intellectual entrapment are the next generation of the philosophical industrial estate, which is now choking itself with lies of pretense. No sub-question to scale with Machiavellian cunning, these gatekeepers evacuate outwards, and the claim of a philosophical school should make any sincere thinker wince. Unfortunately, there is no correlation between those of great intelligence and rhetoric with good faith, caring will, or any other notion of human good. Many great intellects use their talents to obscure their self-interest, and many powerful rhetoricians use their speech to cloak the fact that they are followers of fashion, measurable results being everything. In times of excessive dogmatism, characterized by static cathedrals of intellectual establishment, the myopia of those who led the prominent sub-questions is very apparent. Just as these are times of great cognitive oppression, they benefit by making their dogmatic targets and adherents obvious. Rusting structures can only stand for so long before an inevitable wave of iconoclasm comes along to remind us of our fallen cognitive state. The philosophical sky is groaning heavily, and the requiem of the iconoclast is upon us. For the sincere thinker, this is a time to rejoice. But beware, although iconoclasm will once again liberate the intellect, the potential of a dogmatic epoch will never fully disappear. The dogmatist of bad faith will scatter elsewhere in intellectual disguise. Many of a dogmatic creed are slavish and simply a product of the machinations of cognitive interplay. There is, however, another type. This is the sheep in wolf's clothing. Beware most of all the hypocrite, the one who calls themselves dissident and free-thinking, but will gatekeep and collect sycophantic minions under their wing. No genuine excitement for the intellectual adventure we have laid before us is to be found in their utterances, but instead new beliefs of false consciousness, new abstractions, new theoreticals of which the rhetoric is used to invoke its efficiency mainly as words. The truth is that for them, the constraints of dogmatism was never the issue. It was simply that they weren't at the top. Theirs is a human lie of using persuasion not in order to instruct, but to capture another under an intellectual spell of glassy-eyed enthusiasm, to induce belief. Man has always secretly loved repeating mistakes. The true rebellion is not in joining the rebels, but is found in suspense with hope of things beyond the pettiness of mankind.